I think everybody's acknowledging that it's time to have a voice. It's really important for us to make it clear Australian content is protected. So it's time for us to fight as a screen industry, but representing the broader community, to say it matters whether Australian content is on Australian screens.
For lovers of great,
we need the investment. We need people to make their films here, which means the government has to get behind it. And it's an investment. It's not a grant. It's not charity. The money comes back. And in the case of making films here, it comes back almost immediately. Don't take it for granted. It needs your commitment and legislation to protect not only the investment, but also the platforms. Australian broadcasters have to be required to show Australian content. And because most of them are owned by international corporations, why would they care unless we make them care?
Today is about launching the Make It Australia campaign all around the country. So what we have here is the Perth contingent of a national movement. The numbers are really quite large across the country. We drew together all the guilds, so it's a real coming together of the writers, directors, producers, the actors, the craft, everyone who's working in this industry, to really forge a bond to campaign for Australian stories.
In the brand new season, Debbie and Sue will be torn apart.
Why do you hate us so much?
Empire Watch, you got us into us because you called the cops. King of the world!
You arrested me for being at a barbecue?
It's important because there's a content review going on in Australia, and which will shape the future of television.
It has to stay our secret.
In Western Australia, we were major producers of children's, which is C classification drama, during the 90s and early 2000s. And that employment has just simply disappeared. Whereas it used to be more than half of the total production value in WA, it is reduced to basically almost nothing. That when you do a television series, you've got 50 or 60 people employed for at least 6 months. And if you have 2 series going in 1 year, that's constant employment for a whole lot of people. We've lost it, and we have to find ways to get it back.
Film and television reflecting Australian film and culture is the most important thing that we could do as artists, filmmakers, musicians, as a nation. The risk is that we don't remember who we are. We go through history without recording who we are and how we develop, then in the future we're going to look back and there's going to just be blank. So get behind it.
Do not fail the Australian voice. Do not fail Australian creators of content. Keep that law. You know, once it is lost, it'll never come back. You couldn't re-legislate it if you found out it was a dreadful mistake to drop the quota.
The government announced a media reform package, which was actually passed through the Senate with the help of the crossbench last week. Commercial broadcasters wanted to strike down what was called the 2 out of 3 rule and the reach rule, and they got it through, which means now that the media is controlled by television stations, radio stations, and print, all of whom can own stuff in the same market. We don't need monopolies that have just been allowed.
Don't take the excellence that we still see in the amount of Aussies that are punching so big overseas and the number of films and TV we make here that has a profile overseas. Don't take that for granted, because it's already shrinking. In terms of our internationally famous TV for kids, it's already half gone.
Is we've got to lobby our politicians to maintain the support mechanisms that currently exist, because if we lose them now, they're gone forever, and Australian stories will become, you know, rare and extinct, and I don't want to see that happen.
And we need to make sure that there's, you know, support and recognition of the cultural and economic benefit that our industry actually brings to our society and our community.